Well, this is Tiger Stadium. That is Brian Clinton. That is Brandon Drum. I am Parker Thune. And mercifully, the most tumultuous regular season of the 21st century is now over for Oklahoma. They await their bowl destination. It will not be a terribly prestigious bowl, but they will get an extra 15 practices nonetheless. And they will get one more opportunity to post a winning record in 2024. They finished the regular season at 6-6 tonight, a 37-17 loss at the hands of LSU here in Death Valley this evening. And this wasn't really a case, guys, of everything just coming undone at once, as we have seen at times for this program in 2024. It was just kind of a steady progression to the point that LSU really took this game over early in the second half, and the outcome wasn't in question from there, Brian.
Yeah, it really looked like Oklahoma was going to be able to match punch for punch with LSU for about a quarter and a half. It felt like things really turned in LSU's favor after the kickoff return. It felt like the stadium came alive. They started to believe a little bit, and on top of all of that, and I said this to you, Parker, towards the end of the game, this team just looks exhausted. They just look tired. You could tell they've been in this position a lot, and unfortunately, 6-6 is what you come up with after 12 games, and not something that they're obviously proud of, but this is the work that you've done, and you got one more chance, like you said.
Yeah, look, it felt like no matter what Oklahoma does, outside of the Alabama game this year, and I guess Auburn, and they tried to lose that game. Auburn just was Auburn in that game, but they find ways to lose. I mean, you're going down, to tie the ball game up, right? Bowers Sharp, we're doing the little, whatever you want to call it, the throwback pass. I will never understand why you have rhythm. You're running the ball well. You're throwing the ball well. And for some odd reason, I know he's a tight end coach, and Joe John has done a masterful job as far as, I guess, moving the ball better than and getting some sort of cohesiveness this season out of the offense compared to what it was, right? Compared to what it was. Let me rephrase that. But, man, why does number 10 have to touch the ball in the most weird ways in the most weird times? I don't get it. I'll never understand it. And that right there was kind of, along with the kickoff return, was as 2024 as 2024 gets for Oklahoma, outside of watching Zion Kearney have to be helped off the field after the final play of the game. Another wide receiver, down she goes.
Yeah, look, I don't even know what to say at this point about this season, about this team. They've showed heart. They've continued fighting, especially on the defensive side of the ball. It just leaves you to wonder, what on earth happened leading up to that Alabama game, and why could the Sooners not channel that, bottle it up, and show some of the same flashes, some of the same dynamics over the course of the entire season that they did for 60 minutes without ceasing against Alabama. The team we saw against Alabama at Owen Field was a completely different team than the team we saw in the other 11 games.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of value in being able to use the bye week, set things up offensively that you feel you can really capitalize on, especially when there's not anything about it on film. You didn't see a whole lot of that tonight. The orbit motion, trying to get the ball to running back on counter, who comes into the box late. That didn't work. The shovel passes didn't work. LSU watched film, obviously. That goes a lot into it. But the other thing is that this team really, over the entirety of the Brent Venables era, has struggled on the road. Like that's been something that we've seen happen over and over again. What it really came down to with Alabama versus LSU, it was just a better matchup for Oklahoma last week. Oklahoma's strength has been stopping the run. Alabama's strength has been running the football. This LSU team, obviously, as they showed us, proficient through the air whenever they have time. And after Garrett Nussmeier came back from injury, he was excellent. I mean, he hit a lot of things downfield, made it really difficult for the Oklahoma secondary, and really was just able to attack Oklahoma where they were weakest. And once you get a lead built on Oklahoma, on this particular Oklahoma team, it is very difficult for them to be able to continue playing football because you have given them a game script in which they have to pass the football. They haven't been able to do that all season.
In many ways, this was exactly the game that LSU needed to play. Get an advantage on Oklahoma, make them play catch-up, and keep the foot on the gas. And that's exactly what Garrett Nussmeier and the LSU offense did. Phenomenal game from Caden Durham as well, the true freshman running back, and Oklahoma native. That stings a little bit more when a kid like that has a performance like that against you. But really, you just tip your cap to LSU tonight because they outplayed Oklahoma in every facet of the game. They deserved to win. Sometimes it's not nearly as much a case of you leaving things on the table. Not to say that Oklahoma didn't leave things on the table tonight, but LSU was the better team, and it showed.
They were the better team. I to your point on the passing thing, I thought tonight Oklahoma got in rhythm, was passing the ball fairly decent, and then they would just stop. But I mean, I guess maybe a lot of that has to do with LSU. They were the better team today. Nussmeier, when he came back in from injury, and I think it was when he ran on that third down, when he ran and he dove for that first, I think you could kind of sense that was galvanizing over there on the LSU sideline. Yeah. And they were going to win that thing for him. Like he was not going out like this season, the last game of the year, with a loss, and he was going to make it. I'm going to clean it up a little bit, but I know for a fact he was on the sideline, and they asked him if he could play, and he said, "I'm going in, I'm throwing the effing ball to them, no matter how bad his shoulder hurt." So that showed his gumption. Caden Durham was fantastic. Their kickoff return, it wasn't just that one, Parker. It was multiple. They almost broke several of them, and it just felt like every time Oklahoma was in cover 3, there was some sort of confusion on a wheel route or some sort of combination. They tangoed over here on the very first touchdown, where it was inside out, and you had Woody Washington taking the outside, Bowman taking the inside. They ran a simple whip route, simple day one whip route stuff. And about that time, you could kind of sense that the defense wasn't really on their P's and Q's like they normally are. And when that happens with a team like you all have discussed, this Oklahoma team just can't come back from that stuff. That's just the season in a nutshell.
They just got outclassed tonight. Look, hasn't been a fun season. Hasn't been a fun season for this team, struggling to 6-6. Hasn't been a fun season for us. There have been some memorable SEC road trips, certainly, but it's less entertaining, certainly, and less enjoyable to drive all over the place to watch a team lose by double digits every week. And that's
been pity on OU people today. They had pity. They weren't the normal LSU people.
So look, folks, all that to say, we know 2024 has been a struggle for everybody involved with OU football in any capacity. That said, we're doing our best to provide you all with the best OU coverage at OUinsider.com. And now the Sooners turn the page to bowl season, and they turn the page to a very important hiring for Brent Venables and this football program, the hiring of their next offensive coordinator. Who will it be? When will it be? We will keep you all apprised at OUinsider.com. And wherever the Sooners go during bowl season, we will be there as well. Until then, folks, signing off from Tiger Stadium for Brian Clinton and Brandon Drum, I'm Parker Thune. Take it easy.